Hi girls, and welcome to this very brief chat about your subject choices in maths for next year here at St. Monica's. Sometimes I get asked the question by Year 10s around this time of year, do I even have to do maths next year? Well, the answer to that is very simple. No, you don't have to do maths, as long as you're planning to move to another school next year. Because, fortunately here at St. Monica's, we feel that the study of maths in senior is that important that it is compulsory. In fact, a whole line in your timetable in Year 11 is given over to maths. Now, saying that maths is compulsory, you can still have a bit of choice in the subject that you choose to do on that one line of maths. Firstly, you may choose to do, well, you need to choose one of these first three math subjects that you see on this list. They are Essential Maths, which is an applied subject, General Maths with general subject and a bit more technical than Essential Maths, and then there's Maths Methods, which is more technical again. It is also a general subject. Now, by this stage, you will know that to get an ATAR, which you are required to do university study after Year 12, you need a certain study, or you need to study rather, a certain number of general subjects. But you can use one applied subject as part of that ATAR calculation. So that might even be Essential Maths in your scheme of things. The idea of this video is to just go briefly through these subjects and explain what is involved in each of them. If at this stage you're already thinking about courses that you might want to do after Year 12, the rule of thumb is the more technical the course that you want to enter, the more technical maths that you need to choose for 11 and 12. If you are interested in a certain course after Year 12, you should research now what maths subjects in 11-12 are a prerequisite to get into that course now. That you should be doing for yourself. Maths, as I mentioned, is the least technical maths subject you can do next year. It has a number of options involved, but people mainly want to know about the assessment. The assessment in Year 11, which I'll refer to as Unit 1 and 2 now, basically mirrors what's done in Year 12. In Year 12, you do an IA1, an internal assessment it's called, and it's a problem solving and modelling task. So it's like an assignment. You also do another one in Unit 4 called IA3, which is also a problem solving and modelling task. In Year 11, you do 2 examinations as well, and in Year 12, you do 2 examinations as well, except in Unit 3, you do what is called a CIA, which is a Common Internal Assessment. That's a piece, an examination that is prepared by the QCAA, which I'm sure you know about now. They are sent out to schools. The schools use them and mark them, and they send back results. Now, grading each of those 4 items that you do in grade 12 is used to work out your overall grade for Essential Maths at the end of Year 12. Year 11 pieces of assessment in all maths units or in all maths subjects is formative, which means that the results from Year 11 aren't used towards your end of Year 12 calculation. It only goes on your Year 12 work. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, what? That's fantastic. It only counts on Year 12? Well, the number of people that I've seen who bludged Year 11 and then somehow went from an E to an A in Year 12, I can count in my 30 years of teaching on this one finger. It doesn't work. The idea is that you plan to have success from the very first day. More technical again are the other subject choices that you might have on this maths line. There is General Maths, a general subject, and more technical again is Maths Methods. Both of them, as I said, are general subjects, which means they may count towards an ATAR calculation. They have obviously very different topics. Maths Methods being, as I said, more technical. The topics that come up are themselves more difficult, more technical than what happens in General Maths. That's not to say that General Maths isn't difficult at some stages. Both of these subjects are assessed in a similar fashion. What they do in grade 12 is basically mirrored in grade 11, except in grade 11, of course, it is formative assessment. Your result at the end of Year 12 in either General Maths or Maths Methods depends on what you do in Year 12. And here's the assessment that you go about in Year 12. And again, as I said, it's mirrored to what you do in Year 11. So in Year 12, you do a modelling of problem solving and modelling tasks. It's worth 20% of coursework, and that's in Unit 3. Also in Unit 3, you do an IA2, an internal assessment. It's an examination. It's worth 15%. In Unit 4, which is the latter half of Year 12, you do another examination. It's called IA3. It's worth 15%. And for a general maths subject, such as general maths and maths method, the big kicker is at the end of Year 12, you do a EA, which is an external assessment, and it's worth 50% of your coursework. That's very different to anything that's happened in Australia, in Queensland, for about a couple of generations now. But that's what we'll look forward to if we're planning to do general maths or math methods or a science. You will all be doing an external examination worth 50%. What makes it an external examination? Well, it's prepared by the QCAA. It's sent out to us, and we have no idea what it looks like until you kids sit down to do it at the end of Year 12. Now, the other subject that I should talk about is called Specialist Maths. Now, Specialist Maths is another maths course that you may choose to do if you are currently going to be doing maths methods. Specialist Maths isn't open to students who want to do general maths or essential maths. It's only open to students who are doing maths methods. This is something else that they may also do on top of that. So you study them concurrently. And of course, like me, there's lots of people out there who enjoy maths and who may be good at it. You might be the people who will be thinking about maybe doing specialist maths as well as math methods for next year. Again, it's assessed in a similar way as to general and to math methods. You have in Unit 3, so the earlier part of Year 12, you do a problem-solving modelling task, like an assignment, worth 20%. You do an IA2, an internal exam, which your teachers here at St. Monica's will write. It's worth 15%. You also do another examination later in the year as part of Unit 4. It's worth 15%. And again, IA1, IA2, IA3 are prepared by your teachers here at school. But like the others, the other general math subjects, at the end of the year you get an examination, an external assessment worth 50% of your coursework. Now, what should you be doing now if you want to think about doing these subjects for next year? Let me start with math methods. Math methods, we recommend that at the end of Year 12, at the end of Year 10, you should be on at least a good B standard for Year 10. We've found previously that students who get a C maybe and then do math methods find it very difficult and do struggle. Now, of course, what you choose and what subject you choose to do next year is totally up to you and your parents' decision. We make recommendations at the end of Year 10, but I'm saying to you now that it's a pretty good measure that if you're getting at least a good B in Year 10 maths, the maths method might be where you want to go to. Now, following that trend, if you're getting something like a C in Year 10 maths, well, you should be thinking about doing general maths. And further again, if, on the other hand, you're not quite getting it, if Year 10 maths is a real struggle, then I recommend to you now that you should be doing and thinking about essential maths for next year. And at the other end, if you're planning to do math methods and you've been quite successful in grade 10, you've got a good B or even an A standard in grade 10 maths, then really I recommend to you that you should be doing specialist maths as well as math methods as well. Alright, thanks for listening, girls. I hope that has cleared up your choices. In the new scheme of things, in the new senior, your maths choices are even more critical than they have been previously, because you don't get a lot of time at the start of year 11 to change subjects if you need to. So thinking about what you need to do and what subject you want to do next year, as far as maths is concerned, is very critical. And if you need to take advice from your teachers or from anyone else around school, maybe talk to some year 11s, then I suggest that you do that. Thank you for listening, girls, and I hope that has helped.